What's going on, YouTube? It's your boy, CamATL, and welcome back to another MLB DFS video with your boy. Drop a like down below because I already know you're gonna love it. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment anything in the comment section and enter your name to the $50 giveaway I do every single week on this channel. I announced the winner in my first video of the day, which is the MLB PrizePicks video. Go check that out if you want to see if you are the winner. I can't remember how to pronounce the dude's name, so make sure you go check that out. Thank you guys for joining me as always, man. I'm excited to get into this. We just have baseball today because, the NBA playoffs are starting tomorrow, which is extremely exciting. So I'm excited to get into it. But I'm excited that we just have baseball today and get to just lock into baseball and go for some big W's. What an amazing baseball season it has been already this year, man. My DFS has been way better than the props this season so far. DFS has just been, yeah, great. We have big days. Obviously, we're going to have losing days in between. But the main focus is to have more winning days than losing days throughout the season, and we're definitely on track to be able to do that. So I'm excited to continue this going, man. I know I haven't been doing a ton of MLB DFS videos, man. It's just I have so many videos to do every morning, man. Like with the through the player prop stuff, and then we have basketball going, baseball going. I've got hockey that I should be doing as well. Like there's just a lot of videos to be made every day, and a lot of work to do early on, and it's hard to keep up with it. But I'm going to consistently try to make sure I'm getting the DFS videos out as well. Um, and by the way, too, NBA is at the end of the season, so it's been too wild to even do a basketball video. So I wasn't gonna do a basketball video right now, anyways, for DFS, just because of how crazy it is right now, which we've been smashing. Dropped over 400 last night, almost 400 yesterday. So it was a great day for NBA as well. We've been smashing the end of the season for sure. So I'm excited for the playoffs, man. And player props are going to be fantastic throughout the playoffs as well. But anyways, greenlightdfs.com, baby. Join the squad. Let's get it for the optimals and the optimizer access. You also get access to the Props Made Easy player prop tools as well on the site when you're a member at Greenlight. So let's go ahead and get straight into this, baby. So first and foremost, we have to start the day off looking at pitchers. So let's take a look at what we got at pitchers for today. Now, obviously, we have a game at Coors. We have the Angels as a super high total. We've got what was that other team? Obviously, Colorado at home. We've got Texas as a high total. Like, there's a lot of offense on this slate today. So I will say this: as always, get your pitching right and then figure the rest out. With that being said, though, with a projection of 19, I don't believe you need a 10-4 Max Scherzer on this slate. He will be very low owned, at least he should be. So if you want to get interesting and grab a guy with major K upside, then you can. But on this slate, with the type of offense that we have expected, there's no real reason to really go for a Scherzer type. There's a couple guys that I'm really looking at that I feel really good about, and their prices are also really good, and you can see them right here in the middle. If you look at point per dollar on this slate, these guys just pop more than the rest. Elder and Zach Gallen. All right, so Bryce Elder and Zach Gallen are in fantastic spots. Both of them are at home. Both of them should pitch a good bit into this. Like both of them should be able, they're stretched out a good bit, should be able to get fairly deep in this. Both of them are expected to win their games. So I love both of these guys in this spot. Elder looked great in his first start. Let me get the exact numbers that Elder had in his first start. So Bryce Elder in his first start dropped 25 DraftKings points, got 6 strikeouts, and only allowed 2 hits against a solid St. Louis offense. Now he gets to go against Cincinnati, which is not as good as St. Louis is. So Bryce Elder at home feels like a solid floor kind of guy here at only 6'6". So absolutely love Bryce Elder. Next up, we have Zach Gallen. Now, this is an opposite type of situation because Zach Gallen did not look fantastic in his first start. Um, I mean, he's had a couple starts here, but he's had some tough spots that he needed to play against the Dodgers and then against San Diego. Very tough matchups against two solid offenses, like tough spot there. And those were both road starts. Now he gets the start at home in Arizona going against Milwaukee. Milwaukee is a solid offense. They can put the bat on the ball. Obviously, they've got some talent in there with Yeles. Tele's been good. All these guys are solid. But At the end of the day, Zach Gallen feels like a guy who should be able to get us a solid floor in this matchup against a Milwaukee squad that is free swinging, though. There's some high K guys in that lineup where Zach Gallen should be able to give us a solid performance, like a floor performance. Now, if you don't want to go Zach Gallen, because Elder I'm probably going to play no matter what just because of the price and what I'm expecting him to do today. You can play with the Zach Gallen spot. You can go Suarez, you can go Heaney. Those are probably the two guys that I would probably like to go if I don't go Gallen, just because LA is huge favorites to dominate Washington, so he should be able to get the W there. Suarez is a solid, decent pitcher as well. Andrew Heaney obviously has some solid K stuff. He's at home in Texas against Kansas City, so that's another good spot. Texas is expected to dominate there as well. So I really like that spot for both of those guys as well. So Elder is going to be my go-to. And then if you don't want to take the chance on Gallen, if you're worried about Gallen in any way, and you don't think he'll perform like you want him to, Suarez and Heaney are both other options at pitcher that you can rock with. All right? Now let's take a shot at hitters. First hitter I'm going to talk about is Alec Burleson because he's too cheap at 2.9 in this spot. First of all, dude's been mashing right-handed pitching so far this year. Alec Burleson has been mashing right-handed pitching. He's got the lefty-righty matchup against Marquez, who struggles giving up power. He gives up home runs. He's at home in Colorado now, which is going to be a tough spot for him here. The righty-lefty matchup, Alec Burleson's projected to be second in the lineup. At only 2.9, this is just too easy. So yeah, don't overthink that spot for Alec Burleson. Absolutely amazing spot for him. Next guy that I'm going to talk about is Nolan Gorman. Nolan Gorman's the next guy that I definitely want some exposure to. He's another guy that's just absolutely been raking against right-handed pitching this year, and he's facing a mediocre pitcher in Coors. Fantastic spot for these St. Louis guys, obviously, but these guys are going to have some ownership. These guys are going to have some ownership. So if you want to get different somewhere, then and on a slate also with this much offense, I'm not going to fault anyone for being like, you know what? St. Louis is in a fantastic spot. They're projected to be the highest total team of the day, but they're also going to be extremely high owned. So I'm going to take the chance on stacking in LA, or I'm going to take the chance on stacking Colorado on the other side of this game, or I'm going to take the chance on Texas. You know what I mean? And I'm going to go hard on one of those offenses and maybe sprinkle in a couple St. Louis so that I can get different. Automatically, my lineup's different if there's a game in Coors and I don't have a ton of it. You know what I mean? Especially on the popular side. Like, for example, in this game, it's obvious where the ownership's going to be. It's going to be on St. Louis. So if you want to get different just off the bat, it would be stacking Colorado on the other end, who have a high total as well. Or to get different off the bat, you want to go with some Angels on the other in that other high total, or some Texas in that total. So either way, man, there's a lot of offense on this slate today, and there's a lot of different ways that you can get different. But these are two guys that I definitely want from St. Louis, just off the prices alone. 3, 4, and 2.9, both in fantastic spots. Both have been raking this year so far, and both are just solid hitters in general, and in a good spot here. So not only do they open up some value for the rest of the bats because of their price, but they're getting you exposure to what should be the top total team of the day. Last but not least, I'm rocking with Mike Trout. I know a lot of the money is probably going to be spent in St. Louis, so I'm immediately interested in trying to get in Mike Trout here. The Angels are also up there, like I talked about, also up there as a big total team. Mike Trout has been ridiculous versus lefties already, and he's just a ridiculous batter to begin with. Okay, in a DFS sport where things are very up and down, the superstars can go out and go 0 for 5. A guy like Mike Trout doesn't do that very often. He's a guy who will get you some points on a consistent basis. And it goes back to me talking about how St. Louis is going to be super high owned. In baseball, y'all, it is so easy for the top projected team in Vegas. Like, Vegas totals are really hard to even care about because in baseball, things can be so off the wall. You know what I mean? Like, one of the lower projected teams of the slate today could end up going out and being the highest scoring team of the day. That's the fun part about baseball. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, the best way to play this, though, is going off the analytics, going based off the matchups. Don't worry too much about where the Vegas total is because, yes, it's something to look at, but at the end of the day, you really want to go with these guys who are good, consistent bats against the handed pitcher. They're going against good spots, just period, in their. Like, Mike Trout at home is fantastic. Situations like that, look at all the different splits that you can look at, analyze the pitcher that they're facing, really see the behind the scenes analytics of that guy and how well he does in the spot that he's in, and just take advantage of the spots where maybe the data doesn't 100% match up, but yet you know the ownership is going to match up on that end, and try to get different. Now, I'm not saying I'm getting way different by having Mike Trout. I don't believe I will. I think Trout's going to have some good ownership, and he should. This fantastic matchup for these Angel guys. Okay. But yeah, instead of like a Goldschmidt or an Arenado in this high five, I had to go Trout because I do feel like it's a little bit different than those guys. But at the end of the day, look at this, man. We've got Elder and Gallen, who are both solid pitcher options on this slate. We've got two St. Louis bats and a Mike Trout, and we still have almost 5K remaining per player. This really gets you started to getting a nice balanced lineup. And remember, the key in baseball, y'all, is if you see a ton of ownership on one player, try to find a guy who is going to be much lower owned, but you also see in a spot that is just as good. Because taking those chances will not only put you in that takedown range, but it will really raise your cashing consistency as well. Because of the ownership being so high, like there should never be super duper crazy high ownership in baseball. The fact that there is just shows there's a lot of people who just kind of follow what's the more popular sites are saying and just blindly playing it. You can take advantage of people like that, and that's what we really have done over the last 3 years or so, 4 years or so, where we've been absolutely dominating baseball, is really taking advantage of where everyone is going to be pushed to and kind of going a different route. But yet you doing it in a smart way, not trying to force anything where the analytics doesn't match up, but trying to really get different where it does match up still. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's it. Bryce Elder and Zach Gallen are the two pitchers I'm really liking today. Like I said, there's a couple other pitchers that I'm interested in as well that you could go with in Heaney and Suarez. Both in spots they should easily get the win bonuses here. Great matchups against bad offenses. Both of those guys are also guys you can go with. You have plenty of money, so having a little bit of like changing a little bit up is perfectly fine. Like spending an extra 800 would be fine for Heaney. I have them right near each other, so you can do whatever you want there in that spot. Um, Alec Burleson is kind of the lock for me. He's been so good this year versus right-handed pitching, and he's only 2.9. Should be also projected to bat at the top of the order, so that kind of makes him one of those chalks that I'd like to just eat that and move on and get different elsewhere. Nolan Gorman, another guy, is probably going to have some ownership, rightfully so. Dude's been mashing right-handed pitching. He's in a fantastic spot. Should be batting in a good part of this order as well. We haven't projected 7th, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him 5th or something like that. So we'll have to see, but Nolan Gorman, fantastic spot as well at only 3.4. So as you can see, there's a trend here. I'm getting I'm getting the lower, cheaper guys in St. Louis, so that I can get the big spend up outside, of course, in Mike Trout in a equally high total. Like I would not be surprised at all to see a Texas Rangers or a Colorado or an Angels be the highest scoring teams on this slate, but St. Louis is going to be the highest owned. Okay, just want to point that out there. All right, remember, last thing I'm going to say in baseball, do not be stressed or worried about trying to get different in spots where you think ownership is going to be wild. Now, if ownership is going to be crazy, crazy, crazy on a spot, and the analytics are crazy, crazy, crazy on that spot as well, then it's supported and you can play it. But if you can find any type of loopholes or any type of player that's in an equally good situation that's right there analytically and you can get a little different than all of that ownership, it immediately jumps you over a large bunch. You know what I mean? Like, for example, if a Mike Trout ends up being low owned tonight and he goes for 2 home runs, I'm immediately looking at takedown possibility just off him being low owned and hitting 2 home runs. And then Paul Goldschmidt goes out and goes 0 for 5, which I don't expect him to do. I like Paul Goldschmidt today, but I'm just making a point. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's smash today, baby. GreenlightDFS.com. I'm locked in all day today. We're going for that tippy top, and we're getting that takedown today, baby. Let's get it. Let's start this week off with a bang. GreenlightDFS.com. Join the squad. Let's get it. I'm out. Peace.